initially very shocked with the distinction, but very happy. Because, yeah, something happened. But yeah, very shocked. Oh, it's recording, okay. Oh, okay, this is the course module for art and craft in preschool. This is going to be more of an introductory lecture. So where I'm just going to give an outline of what we're going to cover throughout this lecture, as well as maybe go into some detail of some of the parts of the units. So it's an art and craft course module in preschool. So we're going to mainly focus on looking at art. It's quite a broad course, very interesting. The broadness of it is based on this. We are going to look at art in itself, art as an individual subject, so art and craft itself, on its own. So we'll look at all different types of art, drawing, painting, sculpture, photograph. Then we're also going to look at even, it's broken down to visual arts, performing arts. So we're going to look at it, it's very broad, the art itself as a subject. And then we're going to then look at it, art in education. So how do we teach this art that we've practiced, that we have learned about, to preschoolers in nurseries, right up to standard 3, standard 2, standard 1, okay? Then we're also going to look at art as a profession itself. So there's going to be a section where you're going to critique art itself, okay? Art form. Any art, any drawing, any painting, how do we critique it? We look at it, we describe the art, we evaluate the art, we assess it, we describe the art, okay? Then we're also going to look at festivals, okay? So what do artists do? Because art is broad, it also includes music, okay? It also includes performing. It also includes theater. So it's very broad, okay? So we are going to try and look at all of it, because the reason why it is being structured in that manner, it is so that at the end of the day, you're teaching art, you need to know the basics of art. You cannot teach a subject that you don't have a basis of. And the assumption is really that you're supposed to be better than your learners. Your knowledge needs to be really above your learners, okay? It cannot be low, so that they actually benefit from the art lessons. So we're also going to look at art as a curriculum in primary schools in ECD. So we are then looking at it as a subject moving on into ECD and in primary school. How is it structured, and looking at the challenges. And then we're also going to look at the lesson plan, how they'll do a lesson plan in art. And then also they'll do the practical. So this year is going to be slightly a bit different, because I taught this module again last year. The issue was that we didn't do a lot of practical activities. So I felt that students did not gain so much from the practical part of it. I just wanted to maybe start off with just having a knowledge base of how much knowledge do you have within the course itself. Did you do art yourself? Did you do art? Did you do art as a subject in primary school, in high school? No. Not art, nothing, no music, no performance, no drama, no art as in drawing, coloring, painting. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Drama.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember drama part.
Was that in primary school and high school? Both.
Primary, I also did in high school.
Okay.
And the drawing part, yeah, in primary mostly.
And what were you drawing?
Different kind of things, just depending on what the teacher was doing. Draw. Yeah.
Was it just drawing? Did you do painting? Did you do crafts?
Craft.
Like needlework?
Yeah, needle.
You did
needlework.
Needlework.
At primary school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so at least you've got some knowledge of art. You've done some art. Cynthia? Drum. Okay, but you did not do art as a subject on its own. Did you do art as a subject on its own? Was it done in primary school? Did you do it in primary school, or did you do it in
Primary school.
And what sort of art were you doing in primary school?
I'm like teaching us how to make clay. Was it clay or pot? Yes.
Okay. Oh, so okay, things to do with molding, sculpturing, and stuff like that. Okay. So you've got at least some bit of knowledge. Okay. So we are not starting from students who don't have it, no knowledge of it at all, which is brilliant. Okay. So the thing that I wanted to start off with, let's look at challenges that art and craft has in schools or in general. What do you think are the challenges? Materials. When you talk about materials, what are we talking about?
Maybe the crayons, the markers.
Yes. So to start off with, art is an expensive subject. Art is a practical subject. It needs practice. It needs you to have the materials, the resources. So it needs you to have the resources. And unfortunately, some of the resources are quite expensive. Okay. So therefore, art is not really done so much in some schools because it requires a lot of money. It requires a lot of funding. It requires a lot of finances. Okay. So expensive materials or unavailability of these materials. So still on materials, we have said the materials are very expensive. Okay. So there might not be enough money to buy those materials. The school might not have enough money to buy the materials, the parents themselves, or the teacher themselves. Okay? In terms of the resources as well, sometimes they're very difficult to source out, okay, to actually get. Like for example, maybe you want to do Play-Doh. I know sometimes there are only specific stores that might have Play-Doh, okay? You might make it yourself, okay, using flour and water, but you then need the knowledge of how to make it, okay? So with the resources, very difficult to sometimes get the resources. Then again, we can say, someone can argue and say, no, resources are everywhere. Why are you not using local resources? If you get leaves from a tree, you crush them, that's already paint. Although it's natural paint, but that's paint. If you boil beetroot, or even use the beetroot, cut it into slices, you can actually use it as what? As paint. Okay? So, yes, there is that advocacy of the use of local materials that are locally available, that you can use in place of these things. Paint brushes, people argue. Okay, paint brushes are very expensive, but why can't you use a stick and then crush it, and then it has got what you call it, like spikes that you can actually dip into your juice that you've made from tree leaves, and then use that as brushes. We can even move it to old toothbrushes. Okay, we might go into villages where they're not buying toothbrushes, they're not brushing, they don't know how to. But are there really some villages that don't have toothbrushes? But you can go and collect. You can go to an NGO, go to people's homes and ask, do you have any old toothbrushes? You can sterilize them. You can boil them before the children use them. These are old materials, but you can, sticks and things. Imagine, when we talk of art even goes back to cave paintings. They used to use animal fat, boil animal fat, use animal fat. Even clay itself, black soil, put it in water, it's already paint. Yes. So can we see that we have to think outside the box as educators, as practitioners. We have to think outside the box. We should just not normally just assume that all the materials that are needed for art, they should be what? They should be bought. You can improvise. You can make them. Okay? So try to be very creative and make those things. Even with clothes, like if you want to do needlework, they can bring old t-shirts, old clothes, torn clothes. Then just cut the piece where it's not torn and use that for maybe if you want to do tie and dye, dyeing the material and stuff like that. So yes, we did say it's expensive. any other challenges that you might encounter when you are at school doing art and craft, because ours is both art and craft as well. Besides the materials being very difficult to get and very expensive. Lack of knowledge of how to actually use the materials or the type of art, okay? Like for example, you might be good at drawing. Your expertise might be be painting, but you might have no idea of graphic design. You might have no idea of what a collage is. So are you understanding that sometimes lack of knowledge, lack of information about a particular type of art from the teacher's perspective, maybe they might not have been trained within that area. Maybe they might lack a lot of knowledge and skills within that area. Maybe they were not interested in that particular type of art, because art is broad. Okay? Art is broad, and art, because art also is a practical subject, so it is also determined by your interest. Okay? Sculpturing, you might be interested in sculpturing, or you might not be aware of sculpturing, or you might have very little knowledge of how it is done. So then you might not be able to to be so keen in getting your children to learn sculpturing. And sometimes it is age determined as well. Okay, so the children themselves, you might be interested in sculpting, but they are not ready for that particular type of art because their age group does not allow it. Are you understanding? Yes. Anything else in terms of the challenges? We said also the lack of teachers. The teacher themselves does not have the knowledge, does not have the training, does not have the qualification to teach that particular art subject or that particular type of art. They might have some knowledge of art, some aspects of it, but might not have maybe theater knowledge, drama knowledge of how to do it, okay? Or the drama aspect of it. Anything else? Timetabling on the curriculum itself, because it's not an examinable subject at the end, okay? Most primary schools will do maths, English and other subjects, but very few would do art as an examinable subject, are you understanding? So therefore, it's not on the curriculum, it's not on the mandatory or compulsory type of subject. Therefore, there is very little attention that is given to it. It's actually given as the last resort. So most teachers use it as a last resort, especially maybe when the learners complain and say, we are bored, we are tired, we've done a lot of writing, can we not draw? So it is used as a last resort to keep learners occupied. Okay? So first of all, there's not a lot of time allocated for art on the curriculum itself, on the syllabus in school. The reason being that it is not examinable. It is not one of the compulsory subjects. Therefore, very little attention or little time is spent on it adequately. So it's not given a lot of time that it's supposed to have. Okay, that's another challenge. Okay, the other challenge is because it has got negative connotation. A lot of parents tend to have a very negative view of art itself. What are some of the views? What are some of the parents' attitudes that they have towards art that you have encountered or you have heard around your community?
I feel like doing art is not going well.
Yes, that it's a waste of time. Yes. Why? Why is it that they have that view?
In Malawi,
Yes.
art is not actually valued that much.
Mhm.
So when you're doing like the drama thing, it's just like you're wasting your time. It's not profitable. You won't get anything with it. So that's the parents.
And is that an accurate view? Do you think that's an accurate view of that art? It's a waste of time. You won't get anywhere. Do you think the community or the parents have got an accurate view? What is your opinion of it? It's not. We know that they have been famous. Have they been? Let's start off with Africa, then let's broaden it. Okay. Yes, in terms of Africa, do we know a lot of artists that are well off, that have made a lot of money from it, that have not gone broke, have not died broke, that have want to say bought a house because that's not only a measure of wealth, but there are other things that also measure wealth. But have lived well off the art. Are they there? They are there, yes. And yes, they're there, but I think they're quite a few. Okay. I think the challenge that artists have is that it's a profession that does not enable you to have consistent supply of money. But can we not then blame the artists themselves because that they're not marketing their products really well? Because when you then move to art abroad, art makes a lot of money. There are paintings that have been sold for 1 million. There are paintings that have been sold for a lot of money. And there is the idea that there is money in collecting art. They call it art collection. You might not be an artist. You can go around collecting art, keep it for 5 years. You can sell it for more money. Yes. You just need to make sure that the art piece that you buy has got the name of the author, the name of the artist, and the year that they painted it. Yes. And then you have to record it to say that they sold it to either receipt or you record it. But people who are rich, most people who are rich collect art paintings. They have a collection of art. It's like the safety box of wealth. Okay, that hasn't reached to us blacks as a community. We buy art paintings to put in our houses, but not to collect in order for us to make money at the end of it. So there's a lot of art galleries that are there. You can have a house, you can put all your art paintings there, all different types of art. You can make money out of it. So art makes money the longer it stays with you. Okay, is it clear? And then you have to look like that. Canvas is durable, it stays longer. Okay, so you can do that. And so with this program, with this course, you can end up becoming an art collector, or you can become an artist yourself, or you can decide to draw coloring books, draw for kids, and they'll sell them. Okay, so you can decide to have your own collection or collect other people's work. Is it clear? Or you can decide to be an art critic. Criticize other people's art. You describe the art, you evaluate it, and you just evaluate it, you comment on it, because you have studied how to comment and critique an art. So you can be an art critic. You can decide to set up your own art gallery, just a room, and have all the different art pieces. Charge money for people to come and just see the art. Yeah. You just look at art, what popular type of art is there. Okay? And these days it's really, really nice because you can now have one picture in different versions and sell it a number of times. They call them editions. So the same picture can be in color, can be in black. You can draw it, you can paint it, you can sculpture it. Are you understanding? From one picture. And you can then use it as coloring books for others. Are you understanding? So moving back to the other challenges, what do you think are the other challenges? Besides what we've mentioned, that the art itself, most artists don't make a lot of money. It's an art that it's a profession that is looked down upon. There's a negative attitude towards the profession itself, towards the subject itself. There's lack of interest in the subject. From the parents, even from the learners, you will encounter it. Okay? And anything else? Facilities. Okay, there are certain some types of art need a stage. Theater needs lighting, needs a stage. Okay? So those are expensive equipment that are needed. That some schools cannot afford. You need costumes. You're going to do drama, you're going to do theater. You need the costumes. Some costumes are expensive to buy. Are you understanding? Yes. So, and when we look, some of the paint brushes are also expensive to buy as well. Okay? Any other challenges? Trips, organizing exhibitions, because art also includes exhibitions. Okay? Taking children to the gallery, to the museum, having enough time to explore nature outside, going and drawing outside, because there are different types of art. So taking learners on trips, inviting artists to come in, or inviting someone who's talented to come in and teach a skill that you might not have as a teacher might prove to be very difficult. There's not enough time for it, okay? You might want to take your learners to an art exhibition, but there is no time, or there is no finances, there's no transport. There is not adequate funding for that exhibition to be done, okay? But there are always ways to go around it, okay? You can invite another school to come and share. Instead of you going there, you can ask the artist to bring a few of the artwork. You can ask them to volunteer instead of you paying for them. Instead of you paying for their time, you can then exchange. You bring your art, we then help you. You call parents and tell parents that you're bringing your art. The parents can come and buy the art. You exchange your art lessons with the exchange of parents or learners, depending on the income of the learners or the status, the social status of the learners. Then they can actually buy the art in exchange for free lessons. Okay? Yes. So those are some of the challenges that are to do with art in school. The facility, the building, you sometimes, if you're going to do photography, you need a studio to process the photos. If you're going to do tie and dye, you need the materials, you need the dyes. So those are expensive also. Okay, you've understood. Yeah, and most universities don't teach art. They don't teach students who want to go and teach art. They don't teach it as a subject, or don't have also enough time to teach it as a subject. So they don't do a very good job of it, because there's not enough time even on the teachers, the student teachers' curriculum. Is it clear? On the university modules, it's not enough time. Okay, so that's another challenge itself. And also, the other challenge that art itself is very subjective. It's a subjective subject. Do you have an idea of what we mean when we say it's subjective? Art, it's subjective. It's culturally biased. Art in some countries or in some societies, nude art, painting someone who's naked, someone who comes, removes their clothes, you paint them or you draw them. It's art. But in other cultures, in African culture, you cannot do that. People will run away. Even sending a picture of someone who's nude, it is culturally not accepted. Even sculpting someone who's nude. I still remember there was a case of the ex-South African president where an artist in South Africa was white, drew him naked. Still remember, I think there was a debate there was an issue about it. Yes, and there was an uproar. The South Africans were very angry that culturally he was not supposed to do that, and he said, but it's art, I'm free to do what I like. Then I think they stormed the place, then he had to sell the art to someone else in the UK. Yes, so yes, I was quite also offended that you cannot do that. Have they ever done it to any other figure, public figure, especially a politician, and it had not been done. So when we talk about, so there's sensitivity in art, okay? You've understood. Someone collecting bottles, okay, old bottles, going out into the bin and collecting old materials and making something out of it is called art. But in Africa, when we see someone going to the bin or making things out of plastic or plastic bottles or making a chair out of tires, we say that is cheap. That is second hand, that is not good, but it's art. Have you understood? So art came even from designing the chair, the shape of the chair, designing it, the materials and everything like that. Okay, so there's a lot of controversy, that's what I wanted to say. A lot of debate on what constitutes to be art. And sometimes the buyers will determine what sells. So the artists, so today they might wake up and say, no, canvas, now paintings, the ones that are done on material that stays long, are now, that's the in thing. So an artist who does not do canvas painting or who does a particular type of art will be out of business, because sometimes this particular art industry is also detected by the what? The ones who want to buy the art. They'll determine this is the type of art that we now need to buy. So it is determined by other buyers, or it can be determined by the artist, but very rarely. Okay, so you find that some artists will get pushed out as years move on. Are you understanding? Yes. So there is that cultural sensitivity to art. What is art? How do you define it as art? When we look at, in terms of Africa, when we look at artists, they paint things to do with tourism. Okay? If you want to buy anything to do with art, it is linked to tourism. It is linked because theirs is, we are drawing for tourists to come and buy. So we are drawing only things to represent what is African. So when you go into town, you will find that what you see, not only in this country but in most African countries, it's a tourist type of art. So you find that you'll have pictures of villages, women carrying clay pots, things that they used to do long back. Okay? But can we say that that is representative of Africa as a whole? Are we saying we are all coming from the villages? So there needs to be diversity within the art to represent that this is African art. But it's not only village type of art. When I say village type of art, I'm talking about long back, the way you used to live. That's the type of art they're drawing. And animals. Okay? Because when we talk of, even when you ask someone, what is, if someone asks you, I've asked a lot of people, foreigners, what is, give me a definition of Africa. They'll say wild animals. But is that representative of Africa at the whole? We've got towns, we've got ghettos, we've got villages, we've got diasporians, people who migrate, come in and out of Africa. So Africa has changed. And therefore the art needs to also change and represent the modern day people that are there. Yes, we are still doing prehistoric art painting, okay? And even the prehistorical art painting, I don't see a lot of them doing the art that was done in caves, even using those materials. Yet they say those materials will make a painting stay long. Because they used to use animal fats, they used to use human urine to paint. So we started art long time ago. Okay? It's a prehistorical activity that was done in caves. And this is what the artists now are representing, are doing. But there is more to art. So art is very prescriptive. That's another challenge. It is a bit narrow. And it is very it is very specific to a specific audience. It actually conforms to what is selling, the market. Okay? That's another thing. Okay? And also, most of the artists, okay, have challenges with money itself. Okay, buying the materials is. Marketing also, I think some artists have complained that it's very difficult to market the products. And you also find that a lot, even when I went out and did an exhibition, not an exhibition, just toured around. I like going to art places and buying some art paintings and just looking at art. I like that. So I've often seen that they say they don't have a website. They don't have, all they have is their store where they are selling. They don't have diverse products. Okay? All they have is, if it's not a drawing of a wild animal, it's a drawing of a village, it's a drawing of a woman, or they're almost similar in their drawing. It's not diverse. Are you understanding? Yes. So the issue is, okay, they don't have marketing. Okay? They don't have a place to market their place, maybe because of funding, and also that field is not quite regulated when they just regulate the prices amongst themselves. Okay? And sometimes at the end they bargain, the bargaining is very low. Are you understanding? Okay, they pitch their prices so high. Okay, also it's quite, the prices are subjective in the sense that they will look at you and then they will tell you that it's 10,000. You don't negotiate, you buy it at 10,000. Someone comes and negotiate, can even get the same piece for 5,000. Yeah. So I'm talking about local artists. I'm talking about African artists. But in other countries, you can actually rent an art piece. Okay, you have drawn your art piece. Okay, I can give it to you for a whole year. You are giving me money every month. Yes. Or I can buy someone else's. I didn't draw it. I can buy an art from someone else. Okay, keep it and then say, oh, this I like. I want it in my office for this whole year. I can give it to you and say every month you are going to pay me 2,000 kwacha to hang me, or to put it in your art gallery, or to put it on your book. Let's say you draw a book or a textbook, or you've got pictures, you want to include them on the textbook. I can charge you for it. A once-off fee, or it could be rental, a monthly fee, or it could be even years. Even some countries are doing it. I think African countries are doing it. There's some countries that I think, was it Benin? I think I heard on BBC they are renting some old mask or some old sculpture painting that they had that was taken from Africa. They were saying they had to repatriate it, bring it back. Some of them they said they were stolen but brought back. They had to pay fees for it. And some of them said, okay, you rent them out. So they rent them out for years. They're paying the governments or paying the artists. Okay? The other challenge that art itself has is problems of Paris copy. Okay? I might buy an art piece that has been done by someone else, and I replicate it and just change one thing. It's no longer theirs. One has to justify that this is my original painting, you stole my painting, you changed it, or you took it and it now became yours. Okay, so there's a lot of piracy that is related to artwork. Okay, so someone likes your art, they can copy it, and sometimes they can actually end up selling it and saying that it's theirs. But that you can sue. That's why it needs you to have the signature, and you need to indicate that, to have a copy of it stored. Okay, that this is my original art painting. This is mine. Someone took the idea. But again, you can buy someone else's art and keep the receipt and have the proof that I bought it from them. Okay? Yeah, so there is nothing wrong with buying other people's art and saying it is now mine. But it's yours because you bought it and it's got their name on it. Okay? Yes, and still I bought it on this day, it's fine. Okay, so those are some of the challenges. And art itself, it's a difficult skill. It's a skill. Difficult, so some people might not have that practical skill. Some people might not be good at coloring or drawing or even using a computer or using or photographing. They might not be good at that. It's a skill that has to be learned, that with practice you become better with it. And sometimes because it needs a lot of time to practice might not be on someone's, not shoulders, but there's someone's hands, they don't have enough time. Okay, so they can't perfect that skill, or they just don't know how to do it. Like weaving, like crocheting. I have tried crocheting so many times even when I was younger. I still cannot do it. And that's part of what? It's part of art. I've tried it, I cannot. For years I've tried it, I still cannot get the trick. So you find that there are certain aspects, even when you become an art teacher, even if when you specialize, you will still, the skills that you might not be able to acquire and be well versed in that skill. Or you might be at an amateur level, or not even at any level, because you just, within yourself, you cannot do it. Okay? And it's quite discriminatory in the sense that it's practical, you're using your hands. So those with no hands will have to use their feet. Those with no feet, no hands, will have to use their mouth. And there have been brilliant artists who have come out of using their mouth to paint, to draw. Good artists, yes. I'm not sure if there's anyone who was using their ears. But I know with mouth, yes. I know with a foot, yes. Yes. So those are very exceptional artists. So we've got different types of artists. Yeah. Okay. And then also the authenticity of it, verifying the originality of it. That's now patents and trademarks. How do we verify that you didn't copy, you didn't take it by piracy? Yes, replicating and stuff, duplicating work that is not there. And then also in some cases, then it becomes very difficult to in disputes also. But then there are so many ways that's why when you draw something, you just need to sign it, date it, and make sure that it is yours. You have to have a signature that that actually identifies that the product is yours. Okay. So I think we've covered quite a number of challenges that are there with art and craft. Not enough resources, not enough availability of the resources, expensive materials, lack of interest, lack of knowledge and skills even with the parents or the teachers or even the students themselves. And then we've also said the art itself, it's very difficult to market the product, okay? It is also difficult to then also make it authentic, okay? Very difficult. So, let's look at, so we've done that. We've looked at the challenges of art and craft, and then we've also mentioned that it's not adequately placed on the timetable, it's not given enough time, the skills are very complex, it's very difficult to teach, it's very difficult to learn as a subject itself. So some students will find it difficult in itself. The skills are very advanced. Some of the skills some learners might not be able to acquire them. Even adults, they're too advanced, too complex. Okay? And then, okay. Do you want me to write down the points?
No.
Okay. Okay. The challenges, one of the challenges I've mentioned is lack of funding. When we talk of lack of funding, we're talking of lack of resources. So lack of funding from schools. Schools don't have money to buy art materials because the art materials are expensive. Okay? So even when they do have money, it is the lowest placed priority to get art materials. They would rather get textbooks, they would rather get cleaning detergents, they would rather get stationery paper for teachers, pencils and stuff, rather than getting other materials that are needed for different types of art. Okay? You've understood the lack of finances. Then too, we said lack of knowledge or the skill in art itself as a subject or in teaching art. So these are two separate. Okay, we've got art in education. So how to teach the art. And then the art itself. Do you know how to draw? Do you know how to draw it? Because for you to tell someone to draw an animal, are you able to draw an elephant yourself? Are you able to draw a house? Are you understanding? Are you able to sculpture? Are you able to do pottery? For the learners to do it. Yes, you might be lucky that some learners might be well versed in doing it. They can come and demonstrate and they can be leading it. But you can find another colleague who's able to do it and you exchange and they help you and they do the lesson for you. Or you get someone else to teach you and then you go and then do it with the learners after someone else has taught you. So there are always ways of doing it. You've understood. And then also we have said that there's a lot of negative attitude towards art. So negative attitude, lack of interest in art itself as a subject. Because it is broad, the subject is broad. I might be good at drawing, but painting I might not be so good at. I'm good at craft, but that type of craft is not being offered at school because of lack of resources, okay? Or the curriculum does not give that base, okay? So most art, even the curriculum itself, does not have, art curriculum is not broad. It's not, the topics are not broad. In fact, to tell the truth, with the curriculum is nice, it's okay. But what happens is that the teachers, because they don't know pottery, they don't know sculpting, they don't know how to photograph. On the curriculum, if it's there, they're not going to do it with the letters. They'll just, year in, year out, draw, paint, and they'll leave everything else. Oh, and then do drama. Are you understanding? So also there's a problem that within the curriculum, there's biasness of picking and choosing from the teachers what they know or what they are interested in, not what the learner needs to know. Are you understanding? And then that lack of timetabling, time on the curriculum. Not enough time has been placed on the curriculum to teach in-depth art so that learners acquire a skill that when they leave, they're able to make money out of it. Or learn different types of art, or learn different skills within the art. Are you understanding? Yes. And the facilities are not adequate. You need a studio. Okay, you need a stage. You need lighting. You need curtains. You need stage props. Things that you are going to put on the stage. Okay? And sometimes the school might not have enough money to buy those things. Okay? You've understood all the challenges?
Yeah.
Yes. So that's very clear. Now let's look at the types of art. Okay? Before we look at the different types of art, I want you to draw. I want you to draw. I want you to do any art on your book, on your piece of paper. On a piece of paper or in your book. And then I'll show you some of the stuff I've been doing. And don't laugh because I didn't do art in high school, primary school, but I decided to make it later. So, can you do yours please? Huh? Just 5, 10, 15 minutes of art. Anything. Drawing, coloring, I don't know, painting, and please buy paints. We're going to do painting also. So this week we'll do drawing, next week we'll do drawing, all types of drawing, and then also painting. So you need materials. So what we'll do is 1 hour, we will do the theory, the other hour or 30 minutes, we will do the practical. Every lecture. So we'll start with the drawing, all types of different drawings. So anything, whatever you have, and use whatever you have. Because art also is about materials. I can draw, but I can draw with a board marker, that's art. I can draw with a pencil. I can draw with a pen, that's ink drawing. I can draw using crayons. I can draw using paint. Now we've moved to painting. So it's the materials also, yes. So I'm going to show you some of this. Not really clear. I want to see yours first so that you don't copy mine. Mine are not brilliant, but yeah. And you can give your own artist name, you know. Have your own name, have an artist name. Are you done? Can I have a look? So that those who are at home can benefit because it's now being recorded. Can you pass it? Let me just look. And then tell me what. Oh wow, okay. So can you describe it? Sorry?
That's a man.
Okay, it's a man, yes.
Put him on a human. DJ.
Okay.
with long hair.
It's not bad. It's quite good for a first time attempt. It's quite good for a first time attempt in this class. But I just want you to describe what made you decide to draw this in particular.
It just come in mind.
So it's more like a can we say portrait? Can we say is this a portrait? What type?
I don't know. I just draw it. I don't know the type.
And what shape? Do you know what art is? Just basic shapes, okay? What shapes are there? What lines? Let's start off with lines. What lines are there? Straight line, a circle for the head.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Another straight line. What type of line is that? Is it horizontal? This is horizontal. Vertical. Circle. Yes. What else? What shapes? There's a box there. Okay, so we've got a rectangle. Okay, so you've drawn a shape. You've drawn a picture that has got what? Lines. That's got shapes. We know we've got our basic shapes. Which shapes do you have? Primary school shapes, guys.
No, forgot that.
Triangle, circle, oval. Okay. There's the square, the rectangle. What I'm trying to tell you, this is art. Art is made out of lines, shapes. You've understood? Yes. And then you did the trousers. That's another what? Rectangle. Rectangle. Yes. Okay? You've understood. So then the texture would be, how does it feel? Okay? Yes. Okay? So, and then when you are describing the art, you're then looking at, okay, what title do you want to give it? Because some art painting should have a title to it. So what title would you give this? Because art is like making up a story. It's like storytelling, but in the form of a picture. So you also need to then look at your art and say, so how was I feeling? What was I thinking? What can I term it? What title can I give it?
Lovely man.
Lovely man. Yes. Okay? But can you see that art just originates from lines, from shapes, from textures, from color? If you are now coloring it, okay? So these are all the components that are needed to make an effective art drawing, okay? Can I have a look at yours? Can you describe hers? It's a house, okay? But what shapes are coming out? Lines, what lines have you drawn? Lines, yeah.
Straight lines.
Yeah, straight lines. This is straight lines, vertical lines, horizontal lines, diagonal lines, okay, parallel lines. You've drawn parallel lines, yes. Then what shapes have you drawn? Square, rectangle. Yes, a rectangle there. Yes. Sorry?
Yes, rectangle.
Yes. Yes. But you have not colored anything in there. Okay, so we've got with colors, we've got primary colors, complementary colors. Okay, tell me when it's time up. Then let me just show you mine. I'm trying to do this I'm just trying to do a unique, different art. Okay, I just want to try. What I want to develop is I just want to make my art circles. Different art. I want a different type of art, but I want it to be more therapeutic art, art that is not stimulating, intellectually stimulating. So something like this, okay? I am trying it, okay? So it was more of how many different shapes can I do with just ovals, okay? And then, graffiti, when you write on a wall, that's art also. So I was trying to work out, okay, what sort of signature can I have? So I'm trying to set up a coloring book. I'm trying to do a coloring book, Okay? Then with this one, okay? This is the one that I really like. Which one do you like? This. You like this one? So it was like, but you can draw it, you can perfect it. So I'm trying to specialize in line drawing. I'm trying to look at, okay, I just want my drawings to be of circles, okay? But I just want it to have an impact on someone's eye, okay? So it was like that. So with this one, so I'm trying to develop it. That also. So the different things that you can put with also, okay? And that one. And that one. And then trying to now come up with a picture. What do you think this is? Because it has to be, abstract art is the most interesting, the most popular. Trying to guess what a picture is. What is coming out of the picture? That's the end product of abstract art. From one picture, what do you think this is? Yes, it looks like a starfish. I thought it was like a flower that is open. But when you start having your own opinion of what the art is, because at the end of the day, the art itself, you form your own opinion. That's why it's creative. Art is imaginative. It can be drawing objects, real life art, okay? Where you put a bowl here of fruits, then you are seeing it, you are painting or you are drawing it, okay? Or it could be in front of you, I am here, a portrait, you are drawing me. Or you bring a photo of your mother or of your brother, then you are drawing you are drawing what you are seeing. Okay? So those are all different types of art. Okay? So art, anything is art. Okay? And this one. I was really trying to make it for small children. Okay? So even numbers, drawing numbers, it's art. It's just that it's now educational art. Yes. When you draw a number and you ask a child to color in, it's already what? Art. So there are some stories that you can have where you can have a whole sentence and the child can color in it, whatever. Okay? Are you understanding? Yes. So art is anything, to be very honest. It's your creativity, your imagination that will determine to what extent you want to take that art to what level. Okay? So we've got mainly visual art. Okay, well, so when you look at types of art, we've got visual art, what we can see, performing art. Okay? So visual art is what can be seen. Produced on a paper, painting, drawing, photography, craft, okay? Performing art is the music, the dancing, okay? It's now different, okay? So, art is split into two, okay? Visual art, performing art, okay? But within the visual art, we've got the different kinds of art. And we're going to start off with drawing, okay? We're going to bring in, so what I would like you to do next week is to bring in the different types of materials that you can use to draw. And then look at 3 different things that you can draw, okay? We'll talk of landscape, what are you talking of? Portrait, so people, objects, mountains, scenery, okay? You can draw the sea, and now it's very interesting having unusual colors. Like now, art is very popular. What is making art popular is the use of the green color. So instead of drawing the sea in blue, you draw the sea in green. So there is interest in bright colors, use of bright colors now. That is what is trending in art. That is what is making money. In unusual color, the use of space, okay? Art also, when you talk of art, we're talking of space, okay? We said lines, shapes, okay? Space, when we talk of space in art, okay? It's the gap that is there. space. Can you see? So we call this space because there is no drawing. Are you understanding? Inside here it's space because there is no picture inside. Are you understanding? So everything here, if there are gaps, it's called what? Space. Okay? So we've got black and white space. So now there is also the interest to have a lot of spaces in between. Because they say spaces will actually make someone divert. When you look, in fact, you know what? When you look at this picture, where are you attracted first? Where do your eyes go? On the space. When? Here? And there? And then there. On this, yeah. So the spaces actually try and they draw you to the picture. Okay? You've understood. Coloring, we talked of the colors. Okay? Bright colors, use bright colors. Bright colors, do you know, can you give me examples of bright colors? Red, yes. Yeah. Red, yes. Yellow. Orange. Which ones are, do you know which ones are the primary colors? Red, yellow.
Red is there.
Yes. So, and what? Blue. Yes. There is red, yellow, and blue. Contemporary colors are then colors that are actually you mix to get. Okay? So when you mix red and yellow, what do you get? Now we've moved on to contemporary colors. With primary colors is red, yellow, and blue. Okay? You can't mix anything to get those colors. That's simply what it means. They're a standalone color. You've understood? Yes. You cannot mix it with anything to get red. You cannot mix anything to get yellow. You cannot mix anything to get blue. Okay? Contemporary colors, if you mix red and yellow, what do you get? You need to know this because you can actually even have a lesson with the learners just doing red, yellow. Today we're doing primary colors. What are the primary colors? Do you know them? Do you know how to identify them? We are going to secondary colors. Sometimes they call them secondary colors or complementary colors. You are now mixing two colors. Red and yellow will give you orange. Does it not give you orange? Red and yellow. If you mix red and yellow, it should give you orange. If you mix yellow and blue, or red and blue. So when we do painting, we are going to do that. Okay? You need to know that. Okay? So you might not have paint, you might not have all the colors in your, you might not have money to purchase all the colors, but if you get the bottom ones, the red, yellow, and blue, you'll be able to mix a lot of different colors. Okay? But you start off when you're working with young children, you start off with the basic primary colors first. Okay? And then you move on to the complementary colors afterwards. Okay? So we said when you are drawing, when you are looking at art focuses on your lines. We've got different types of lines. We've got parallel. Sometimes they go to parallel and go this way. Okay? Diagonal lines, vertical lines are these. Okay? Horizontal lines are that. Okay? Even with lines we have curves. Okay? Even dots sometimes, okay? But dot is not a line. It then becomes a shape. That's now, but these are now, when you do this, you're moving on to the first few stages of learning how to draw for children. Scribbling, we now call it scribbling, okay? When you scribble like that, okay? Shapes are the shapes, the basic shapes, the 4 types of shapes, and all the other ones come from there, okay? Space we've talked about, color we've talked about, texture, it's how the painting, how the drawing, the paint feels, okay? Like here, these are, I'm trying to create a deep sense here, depth here, okay? Okay? So, when you look at it, what kind of texture do you get? Because it's not always about how you feel on the paper. Are you understanding the texture? It's also what your eyes feel. Are you understanding? What type of texture you can take? You can put a piece of wool here, because there are some pictures that are made out of wool. Like for example with this, you can do it with your children. They can draw this, and then they can cut a piece of old cloth, and then they can put it here for the jacket. You get a glue that sticks cloth, because there's now glue that sticks any type of material. Okay? Wood, anything. You can get even sticks. Okay? Grass, they stick here. So when they feel it, that's now the what? The texture. You can even get stones and you can put them. You get sellotape, you put it over. Okay? So any type of material, they can draw and then they can stick on the drawing. Okay? Even with grass and stuff, you can have grass, the caves, you can mold it and put mud even on the paper. Okay? For mud houses. Okay? It will now be hard paper. So you are then molding it on it. Like that. Understood? Yeah, so texture is how it feels. Okay? And the different materials that you can put. But not only how it feels, but how your eyes see it as. Okay? It feels like as if it's dark. Okay? It feels like as if it's a wide and open thing. Okay? So those are the different areas that you need to look at when you are doing art. Lines. All art has got lines. Okay? All art has got shapes. Some arts might have all the what we've mentioned there. The lines, the shapes, the space, the texture. Okay? And we're going to detail with some of them. But some of them might not, some of the features might not be there, but you are assuming that at least there are some that are there. Okay? You might not have a lot of space between your drawing. Okay? So that's that. So we did look at the outline of the course. I did say that it is going to be very broad. It's going to look at you practicing the art itself, then you learning how to teach that particular art to the learners, you coming up with activities that you're going to, art activities that you're going to give to the learners, and then also you developing yourself as an artist, if you're going to develop yourself as an artist, or knowing about artists as well. You may not want to be an artist, but you should know about art, the history of art, artists, all that. The concepts that have to do with art, we did look at some of the words, lines, what do we mean by what lines are, the different types of lines are, if they are there. Art education, we said that it just simply means that you are learning about art as a subject. Education in art just means that you are now teaching art to learners. Okay? Yes. Art education also look at you are learning about artists, how they develop their art, and what sort of art do they offer, what sort of art do they engage in. So that's it, unless if you've got any questions. How many minutes are left? 2 minutes. Yes. So to sum up, can someone tell me what we said were the challenges of art and craft in school? Just about 3.
Expensive.
Yes, it's expensive. Expensive materials, yes.
Lack of resources.
Lack of resources, yes.
Lack of interest.
Yes. Okay. Learners not having a lot of interest, not motivated to craft, to become better at the craft of art, to improve their skill in art.
Lack of knowledge and skills in art.
Yeah, the lack of knowledge and skill in art, how to do, especially with the craft part of it. Weaving, how do I weave? How do I dye? How do I sculpture? How do I do pottery? Okay, how do I mold a clay pot? So not knowing the knowledge of how to do that particular type of art. Okay? What did we say were the 2 main types of art? 2 main groupings of art. Visual art and performing art. And can you give me examples of visual art?
The drawings.
Yes.
Drawings.
Meeting is craft, yes. Yes. Okay. And then also, can you give me examples of type of drawings that could be done? I know we didn't cover a lot on that one. I think actually that we did practice drawing. We did look at art education. What is the difference between art education and education in art? What is the difference? What is art in education and education in art? These are two different concepts. The art, when you say art in education, we are learning about how to draw, how to do the art. We are looking at the language that is used in art. We are looking at how to draw. We are looking at, when we talk of art, we are talking of lines. What are lines? What are shapes? What are spaces? What is texture? Okay, so the elements of drawing. Okay, we are then also looking at, so it's art education, actually teaching the art itself. When we say drawing, what type of drawings do we have? What type of paintings do we have? What type of resource materials do we have? Okay, what issues are in art that are faced by artists? That might be faced by an artist or the art industry itself. Okay, it's to do with the art subject itself. Okay. Then education in art, we are looking at what activities can we engage with the learners regarding art, okay? So what am I going to get them to draw, okay? How am I going to teach drawing, okay? Okay, I'm going to teach you how to draw a cat. Okay, a cat has got two ovals, okay? You're already teaching them the art, okay? And two straight lines, okay? And a horizontal line, okay? And two small half lines, or half curves, okay? So you are teaching them from the shapes. So you look at the picture that you want to draw, and look at the shapes that come out of that drawing. Look at the lines that come out of it, okay? And then the activities, the planning of it, what raw materials do you need, how do you keep the place safe, what kind of materials are you needing, how long is the activity going to be for, what are they going to be wearing. If it is painting, they need an apron. If it is going to be paint, you need to make sure that it's non-toxic paint, so you need to make sure that it's not poisonous paint. You need to make sure that water is put not in glass jars, it's in plastic containers and probably sealed, okay? You need to, so health and safety, you need to be aware of health and safety so that there's not a lot of sweeping, a lot of accidents that happen during that activity, okay? Critiquing of art will come under art education because that's part of art. When you look at an art form, when you look at an art piece, how do we critique it? But education in art is just looking at how are you teaching the art. Okay? Any questions? So for next week, what I want you to do for next week, please bring in materials to draw. 3 different types of materials that you can use to draw. I want you to get an art book, almost like this, that you're going to use throughout this term. Okay? Just an art book, 1. Okay? We're going to do all of it. We're going to do all activities in here. Okay? So that if you go and teach, or if you work with an NGO that is promoting art for children, you have already work that you've done that you can showcase. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is bring 3 different materials that you can use to draw. And then look at what type of drawings can be there. Okay? 3 different drawings that you're going to do in the lecture. So, do you understand when I say bring 3 different materials? Maybe ink, maybe pencils, anything else that you can use to draw. Okay? 3. And then also look at different types of drawing. We've got portraits, landscapes and stuff. Okay? 3 again. Okay? And what I simply want you to do is I want you to learn as much as you can to have in-depth knowledge about drawing. When you talk of drawing, yourself should have the most current information about drawing, the most in-depth knowledge about drawing. Are you understanding?
Yeah.
And then bring samples of work that has been drawn. Okay? Because then we're also going to learn how to critique the art. Okay? And start looking at activities that you can do with children in drawing. Okay? Okay. So I'll see you next week.
Alright.